Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, Sam Sage, man. Odin 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the spec. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin and crypto ecosystems. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be amazing, guys, because we really feel like crypto is about to break away from stocks, break away from the uncertainty of what they're doing in stockland, right? Because we're seeing the NVIDIA come out yesterday and basically say that this tariff stuff is not good for them, right? They're going to lose $5 billion. But, you know, the stocks really took a hit today. I mean, you have the, S&P down 1%, the Dow down 0.4%, but Bitcoin up 1.3%. Bitcoin dominance, though, is up a lot. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into gold with another all-time high, and just so much happening right now in crypto. There is really a massive amount of news today, and I was shocked. I was going through it. I was like, "What do we have on the show today?" It was a lot, but I think we're going to get through it all. We got everything for you guys. Watching this show will get you caught up to everything you need to know. You don't got to be searching the internet. Just pop in an earpiece while you're working and listen to OnChain Revolution, and that's all we ask. But if you guys wouldn't mind to hit that like button for us and throw a comment in there as you guys make roll call, that is really important and really, really appreciate it. But without further ado, ready to bring in my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's up, man? Hey, how are you feeling? How's everything with you?
Good. Everything's good. I like to see Bitcoin showing the strength. While, like you said, the stock market's becoming kind of like how crypto typically is with the volatility lately, right? But I do think some things are starting to happen with the macro too, in terms of like the trade environment. There's these large companies, NVIDIA, making that statement and committing to building 100% of their computers here. Yeah. That's a big deal, right? So I think we are starting to shift into this acceptance of what that is, and Bitcoin could be doing a little bit of a, I don't want to say the word because every time someone says it, it kind of goes the opposite back after like the weekend. It starts with a D and has couple in there, but yeah, it looks good, looks strong. I feel good. I feel bullish about what is to come in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I just can't wait for this tariff war, this trade war to kind of get behind us, right? I feel like we're right there. We just gotta wait for China to come to the table with the US and kind of get everything kind of under wraps. But we're still dealing with it. It's still in the news, and we have to talk about it because it is what is holding Bitcoin back, in my opinion. So let's get right into it. The White House says China now faces tariffs up to 245% on imports to the US, up from 145% as a result of you basically, of them not coming to the table and negotiating.
I just don't. I feel like that we're actually getting closer to negotiating than continuing this. I know it looks like tit for tat right now. There was a big event. I think that China replaced their main trade person within their government. So maybe for negotiations. So maybe that gets better. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because there has to be a breaking point at some point, right? To where it's just for an overall global system to kind of be more stable, right? So as of now, though, it seems like the cards might be in the US's favor as of now. We'll see how things play out.
Yeah, 100%. China's foreign minister called the 245% U.S. tariff a matter of Washington to explain. A matter for Washington to explain, urging the U.S. to stop threatening and blackmailing and engage in equal dialogue. So they're basically saying the U.S. isn't the one that's coming to the table. They really want the threatening and the blackmailing to stop, and so they can negotiate.
I agree that there needs to be this coming to the table, though. Whether I don't want to look at this as like who's winning and losing and all that stuff, because that's just not going to. What does my opinion really matter, right? But at the end of the day, I think coming together to negotiate something that's mutually beneficial is the best thing that can happen. But it has to be mutually beneficial, and that's where the agreement needs to come to.
Yeah, man, I mean, I feel like this is a war right now, right? Like you can say, what happened with Russia and Ukraine obviously was terrible, but that was a war, and you've seen gold rise and DXY fall and everything else what happened with it, right? But now you're kind of seeing the same thing kind of happen, but in this trade war, which is, at the same time, it could hurt a lot of people. But we'll see. It's definitely hurting NVIDIA. NVIDIA says the U.S. government has banned them from selling H20 chips to China. NVIDIA 5.5 billion hit comes from having too many H20 chips that they can't sell. Deals they still have to pay for, and money set aside to cover the losses. So NVIDIA is getting hurt by this. I mean, this is a company that makes like $40 billion a quarter, right? So I mean,
They
it's
can cover it.
right? But now they got too many H20 chips. China doesn't have enough. This is not looking good. This is not Trump likes companies that are successful. He wants these companies to be successful. This is just, to me, it's very temporary.
Yeah, this is just another negotiation point and leverage.
Yeah.
Right? To say, hey, we're gonna cut these up. I mean, but they are going tit for tat right now. Eventually, that's just gonna have
Yeah.
to stop. I mean, look, we're at 245%, right? So, like, how much more can you go, right?
Well, Hong Kong then suspends postal service for all goods being sent to the U.S. I mean, now there's nothing coming in from Hong Kong, at least. And then, to make up for the funds, it looks like China is selling seized crypto despite its trading ban. So China is debating how to regulate and dispose. I don't like those two words, regulate and dispose, of its growing stash of seized cryptocurrencies. But the problem is, while cryptocurrencies are banned in China, local governments have been collaborating with private firms to sell confiscated digital assets. So they're like, hey, yeah, these are illegal to sell, but we're going to sell it to you. It just doesn't make any sense. What do you think about all this? And you got to remember, China holds the second largest amount of crypto by any country. Showing my screen here. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the United States did the same thing, right? So they were selling down their crypto as well whenever we didn't have regulations and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I think they're in a similar point that we were in terms of when we were selling down. Maybe they didn't have to focus on that before because the way that their economy was flowing before. But to me, this is, depending on how much Bitcoin they sell down here, This could kind of, there's a pretty decent gap. What you're talking about, $11 billion between UK and China, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of total value. So, I mean, I don't think they should pull like a Germany or anything. Germany went for broke there. You can see at the bottom. Yeah. But if it's going to be the future, which, you know, the US is kind of putting their bets on it,
Yeah.
I don't think China's going to sell down too much, but we'll see what they have to do. If they sell down a lot, then I think we kind of know how impactful the tariffs are right now for them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they need to cover it. But the problem is the reason the US could easily sell is it's legal here. They just sent it over to Coinbase. China hasn't been able to sell because it's not legal in China. They'd actually have to sell it to an outside agency, whether that's Binance or Bybit or something. And that's not something these countries like to do. They like to do everything inside, right? So that's why China hasn't sold down. That's what I'm hearing anyway, is because they got to find private companies. But even if a private company buys it, it's not dumping on the market, right? It's an OTC.
OTC.
Yeah. So it's still not going to affect the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, but Germany sold it directly to the market. Is that why
it's legal there? They just send it to Coinbase.
Yeah.
Like so.
But it's weird though, because but you also, once you see like large institutions like in the US do OTC as well. Like for example, they talk about MicroStrategy does OTC and stuff like that, so it doesn't impact directly, you know, the price. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends how you want to do it though. You can choose to sell it on the exchange, or you can choose to like when you do an OTC deal. I don't think you get market value.
When you buy, you get a good deal. When you sell, you probably have to sell a discount, right? So
yeah. I think it's the same thing too. I think that, you know, even when you buy, I think, you know, when you're buying in bulk like that, I don't think you're getting the exact amount. There's probably some type of taxation in there by the company itself, right? Because they're holding it for you, they're custodian it for you. So it depends on the deal too. Like someone like MicroStrategy probably gets a really good deal on it because Coinbase is like, yeah, we're gonna custodian it for you, so we're gonna make money doing that way. So we don't care, you know, we'll give it to you for a great price. But someone like, you know, potentially, you know, just wants to come and dump. I mean, they can be like, hey, like we'll give you, you know, 90% of what it's worth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I imagine it'd just be like purchasing wise, they do a big bulk, get a good deal. Selling wise, they don't want to give up, and they probably sell it to the market.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, yeah, man. So China, the idea of establishing a strategic crypto reserve is actively being explored by China as a way to manage and utilize the substantial amounts of cryptocurrency seized from criminal activity. So they're also, not only are they looking to potentially sell it down, but they're looking for maybe potentially a way to establish a reserve. So they're basically saying, hey, we could sell it as OTC to some of these places, or we could actually get a crypto reserve. It's just crazy because it's like two things of the
opposite strategies.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we'll see what they do. Hopefully they're smart enough to keep that Bitcoin. But you know, as a US citizen, I wouldn't mind them selling it down, honestly. And the US buying it up, because I think we both agree Bitcoin is going to be one of those assets that potentially could be backing the dollar in the future. And that'd be nice if the US is number one, but we'll see. President Trump says the US is taking in record numbers in tariffs, with the cost of almost all products going down. And I'm actually hearing that as well. I'm hearing inflation is actually dropping. And, you know, even with the tariffs being high, like I'm not seeing significant price. Like, you know, we just went Easter shopping and stuff like that. And like, we didn't see like crazy prices for anything.
Yeah, but that also means typically that there's less volume, right? Whenever inflation drops, it's like the demand of it kind of drops as well, right? So,
Yeah.
But the one thing about prices, we were talking about that before. I think we're gonna really find out like these top brands in the U.S. like Apple and you know, maybe some of the not really the auto industry, but like clothing, stuff like that, just goods in general, to where they were marking up so much for the prices that they were getting, you know, from overseas, from China, that they're able to actually eat the cost and still make profit. Now, I think where it's going to hit the most are probably the ones that would the one that's the retailers that would try to compete as still like a discount store, and so they didn't jack up as much because that's the market that they captured. Those are going to be tough. I think they're going to get hit, like the JC Penney's, like the the Walmarts and stuff like that. But in general, like the strong brands that people were willing to pay a little bit more, they can eat this cost, and so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, unless Walmart or someone can find manufacturers manufacturing the same item in the U.S., right? I mean, obviously, it's probably still going to be a little bit more, but I mean, 245% tariff. I mean, I'm sure you can find somewhere cheaper in the U.S. when you're jacking the prices up 245%. So,
yeah, the problem is going to be demand, though, because like at that point, they're so used to buying in such large quantities from China, Walmart, and we don't have that demand power yet, in the U.S. to be able to churn that stuff out. I think they would have to look towards like countries that already have factories, like Vietnam, India, those kind of companies that can maybe pivot a little bit and add like different categories to their manufacturing factories and stuff.
yeah, and the country that comes to the table with the U.S. and says basically says, hey, like we're willing to go zero. We want zero tariffs on the U.S. Anything coming in, zero, and then potentially they can get a deal, similar deal, and then who knows? Maybe these companies like the Dollars General and Five Below, they they go after those countries and give those countries the contracts and the deals to create products for the U.S. So
yeah.
So Jerome Powell speaks at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's 15 minutes from right now. What do you think he's going to say?
Oh, I don't know. I'm very interested to see what his tone's going to be. Right. I'm hoping dovish. I will say, like, the news has been less about the U.S. is going to lose this trade war. U.S. is going to lose this trade war. The past couple of days, as it was last week and the week before. So maybe there is a dovish tone today. If that happens, I think that like Bitcoin does continue to go up, but maybe that's why Bitcoin looks kind of strong right now, because he's gonna talk in how long?
Yeah, 15 minutes, 14 minutes.
Yeah, so expect some volatility. I'm glad that you just reminded me about that before we get into the price action.
Well, I'm actually during your price action, you might see some movement happening.
Yeah,
so we'll see
exactly.
what happens. It could be fun to watch. So this is absolutely huge, and I don't understand why this isn't pulling up the prices of crypto. But Panama City Council just became the first government institution to accept crypto payments. Rumors say the canal revenue could soon be settled in Bitcoin. I mean,
love that.
There's trillions of dollars go through the Panama Canal every single day. I mean,
yeah,
this could be monstrous.
So I see where you might have got that mixed up there. Panama City is actually, I think that's Florida. Panama City, Florida, and so it's a government, and I could be wrong here, but it says
this is Panama City. I thought it was Panama City in Panama.
No. So there's Panama City, Florida, and there's Panama Canal. So that's where you got that. I can see where you got that mixed up. So still a big deal, though. For them to accept their property taxes, their
gotcha.
I think they probably collect sales tax for the state, those kind of things. Whatever taxes.
Well, that's a big difference then.
That's big difference for sure. But also this kind of throws me off too a little bit, because I thought Detroit, remember earlier in the year, or maybe it was late last year, Detroit had announced that they were going to start accepting property taxes. Do you remember a story like that? How they were going to start accepting property taxes in Bitcoin? Something like that. Maybe it didn't get passed through or something.
Yeah, it might have been a bill. That's the thing. It's hard to like report on bills right now, because there's so many bills get like pushed out every day by like a congressman on like the bottom line, or like a representative who's like you never heard his name before, but he's trying to make a name for himself. So he's trying to come in and push the crypto stuff there. So
yeah, last thing I'll say, if this becomes like a viral thing and other cities take this on, and Bitcoin jumps to 400K, 500K, or whatever, I expect to see some better infrastructure in those cities.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, 100%. Well, they can't sell the Bitcoin.
They can't. Well, they're taking it as payment, so they have to.
Yeah.
But they can be strategic about it.
Yeah,
they can be strategic about it. But I think that, like, obviously, if they're going to be taking all types of revenue payments that way, then they're going to have to eventually like be able to utilize that for infrastructure and stuff like that. So
Yeah, 100%. All right. Let's kind of see this chart. Gold hits a new all-time high of $3,317 amid U.S.-China trade tensions, weakening dollar, and global economic uncertainty as of today. So pretty nuts. This thing is a rocket ship right now, man. We were talking yesterday. It was like sitting here. Remember, I was like, it can go down or it can go up, and it's definitely taking the upward momentum here. Does this continue? Do we see potentially? I mean, obviously, it depends on this trade war, but could we see a $3,400 gold in April?
I think you just hit the nail on the head with it. It does depend on the global stability of the,
Yeah.
this new kind of trade order of like, how things are going to be rearranged. If they are going to be rearranged, once stability comes back, I think that this becomes more stable. But until then, people are putting their money into gold because to them, it's the most safe thing that they know of up until today.
Yeah, man. All right. Let's kind of get the next thing. VanEck's Michael Siegel says central banks and sovereign wealth funds will become more aggressive in adopting Bitcoin, not only as a store of value, but also a medium of exchange. So the medium exchange thing is what shocked me. Why would central banks and sovereign wealth funds use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange? I mean, I understand store of value, but potentially, could you see that? Could you see central banks using Bitcoin as to trade back and forth?
Well, I just don't think they really had this opportunity with something like gold, right?
Yeah.
And so now that they do have this opportunity with something that can go both ways, maybe they take advantage of it, right? And so maybe there's instances that it makes sense for them to do like large value transfers in Bitcoin because it's possible. But at the same time, you can flip the script and say, we're not touching this Bitcoin that's always going to be in this hardware wallet or these hardware wallets or whatever. This is actually bullish for Bitcoin because it actually can put the use case above gold in these two where what gold never had that medium of exchange really. Yeah, you could go and buy gold bars and all that stuff, but it wasn't convenient. It's never been convenient. It got to a point to where you're trading gold ETFs and digitally, right? But banks just never had the capability to trade shares or stocks that way as like a transfer of wealth, right? And so this is in my opinion, this is big if this happens because there's a two-way flip here in terms of use case.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's curious. I'm curious to see what happens next, right? So, I mean, the fact that he says, they're going to be aggressive in adopting Bitcoin, it's kind of like when, like when, like is it going to be this year, next year? But if sovereign wealth funds and central banks are eating Bitcoin up, I mean, there's just not enough of it to go around. It's curious to see what happens there. But moving along here. DWF Labs announced U.S. expansion with a new office in New York City and a $25 million investment in the WLFI, which is Trump's crypto company. The company is part of a Digital Wave Finance, a global digital asset market maker and Web3 investment firm. So this is what they do. They invest in companies, and they just put a $25 million investment in the WLFI. We do know that token is not tradable yet. They're still taking in funds, and we'll be dishing out the token soon. But pretty crazy that we're seeing more and more companies going into WLFI. What do you think? Do you think they're going into them because they're bullish on them, or do you think they're going into them because it's Trump and you want to be very nice to the Donald right now?
I think at this level, I think it's still like a risk play, obviously.
Yeah.
But if it does play out, I think the upside is huge for big companies, for World Liberty Fi, because what if it does become an index fund? What if it does become, it's like one of the major bank type of things? We're talking 50 years down the line or something. It's the next, it's the start of something like JP Morgan, or it's the start of, something like Bank of America or something like that. And you have to imagine if World Liberty Fi does evolve to something massive that way, to where there's security behind it, it feels more and more safe as time goes on. You're going to have a slew of products, I think, through that. digital asset products, RWA stuff rolled in, interest earned for people that have money, right? So I think people that have money and firms that have money right now are looking at this as an early bet for that possible upside that could be gigantic, with some risks that they're taking, because who knows, right? Like anything can happen. But I think that's the situation, and hopefully I didn't confuse with that response, but that's kind of how I
No, it's
see
good.
it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. We'll see what WLFI can actually be, right? We do know they have launched a stable coin. They're doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens with that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. So we're at a new all-time high. Previous all-time high was 60, I want to say 63.9. And now we've officially passed that. We're above it now at 64.05. The first time Bitcoin has been in 64s in a really long time. I mean, it's been since the last bull market, really. I mean, this is what,
Really?
62? This was so March 2021 was the last time we were actually anywhere near 63, right? So
Where
and
were
then just
we
down
in
only.
where were we at the end of last year and early this year? Because I could have sworn I thought we were
Yeah,
close.
so this is the chart. I mean, it was anywhere
Yeah.
close. So just
Oh,
recently, as of March 4th was when we hit the all-time high, but that was like a quick candle. It was a quick wick, right? Like it wasn't really, as you can
yeah.
see that candle there,
Sustain.
it's not, yeah, I mean it shot up, yeah, but it immediately went back down and
Mhm.
then went sideways, and it upward momentum really started in March. This is kind of when we've seen a lot of the crypto really just die, and especially Ethereum getting down to 1,600 right now, while Bitcoin is still sitting at 80 something, and then you just see it climbing every single day. Pretty much, it's higher and higher and higher. And what do you think? And then before I ask you that, so Benjamin Cohen actually says that it's without stables, excluding stable coins, the dominance is 69%. So you have to remember, last cycle stablecoins weren't really anything big back then, right? There wasn't a lot. It was like a quarter of the amount of stablecoins that are in existence in 2021 that actually exists today. Especially USDC was just coming on the scene, but he's saying 69% right now, excluding stablecoins. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm happy that Bitcoin's starting to show strength again. And so even though I would like for alts to show a lot of strength here, Bitcoin's got to go show the strength first, I think, to get us back up, and to see
Yeah,
Bitcoin maybe cross the $90,000 mark, head towards 100,000. I think it's good for everybody, even if dominance is up high, because we know there's going to be a point where some of these alts catch up if Bitcoin can sustain that $100,000 price for like 2 weeks or whatever.
yeah,
The majors first follow, right? And then after that, if we can continually sustain, mids and then micros hopefully will follow as well. But this is crazy. I mean, I don't want to look at it excluding the stables. I want to look at it that raw data, which is 64, right? 64, I think what you said.
yeah, yeah. So back
But
here,
even
it says
with that,
64.
that's still really high.
I mean, you have to think 64% of the market. If you took the
Yeah.
entire crypto market cap, even all the shit coins and everything, Bitcoin is still 64% of that. It's pretty wild. But on a good note, Benjamin Cohen says, that he's expecting it to hit 66, but then pull back. So his exact statement was, you can see BTC dominance tends to at least temporarily stall out anytime it hits one of these fib levels. So these are Fibonacci levels, and he's expecting it to hit 66, but then pull back. And as you can see, every time it has hit it, it has dropped, right? And then it has come back and defeated it again, right? So it hit it, came down, ramped back up, past it. So he's kind of expecting potentially at least hitting it. He's not saying we're going to see 70%. So he's not thinking we're going to hit this line up here. This is that up at like 72. He's kind of expecting a pullback here to kind of send that being the high. I mean, he was calling Bitcoin dominance at 65 for a long time. And I mean, Benjamin Cohen, man, I say it a lot, but he's somebody who's just been dead on.
Yeah. When was can you pull that chart back up real quick? I'm
Yeah.
curious of something.
So
So that where he started that line, the dotted line, the opposite
here,
side. Yeah. When
yeah.
was that?
This was the top. So this was March of 2021.
Gotcha. And it hit what percentage?
Well, it's just a wick.
Okay.
But that wick hit 72, but the actual candle was like 68, 60, 69.
Gotcha. And then obviously we know the rest of the story of that year. April started to ramp alts, and then May peaked with alts, and then Bitcoin started coming down and blah, 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 blah. But interesting that we are getting kind of a little bit close to that, right?
I don't want to hit that, bro. That would be so bad.
It wouldn't be bad for Bitcoin. It wouldn't be bad for Bitcoin, but it would be, not good for the alt market.
If Bitcoin ran and everything else, let's just say Bitcoin ran to 100K and Ethereum and everything else kind of stayed flat, right? That would push dominance up.
Yeah, 100%. And that would put us probably in that area. But eventually, we probably don't think about this enough, is that like the alts really need the risk on environment, QE, that type of thing, money flowing. Probably not talking too much about like trade wars, those kind of things. And then we have like a crazy, these other tokens can really thrive like Bitcoin has. But so far it's been the Bitcoin show. If you think about this cycle, that's what it's been. And I think we just got to be patient, because we need some things to happen for that other part to come through.
My patience is running thin, bro. It's been a whole year now. Like April, I mean, we're 3 days away from the 1 year halving, right? Anniversary, right? So 3 days from right now, it would be 1 full year since the Bitcoin halving. And if you would have told me, on that day, like, hey, we're gonna have a miserable year, like all coins had a miserable year. I mean, Bitcoin was the only thing that ran. Like it's been a bear market for everything, not Bitcoin, not Solana.
Yeah, I was about to say Solana hit an all-time high.
Yeah.
Was that? I think XRP hit not all-time high, but but did pretty well in terms. Those were
$3. Yeah.
Yeah, Cardano did okay, but it was literally just a handful of blue chips in that top 10 in the Bitcoin.
Yeah,
you're right.
And it was very short-lived. I mean, XRP went from $1.50 in October to $3 in December, back down to $1.50, like in 2 months later. So it was very, very short-lived. Normally when you withstand like a pump up like that, you're kind of expecting it to kind of at least withstand for a couple months.
And Bitcoin, this cycle of Bitcoin has not intentionally tried to flex, but has definitely flexed.
Right?
It's like for anybody that thought like you guys were taking my spot, all right, here we go.
Well, speaking of XRP, XRP leads the ETF. So this is another thing, another catalyst, huge catalyst that could really, really, really move altcoins, right? And that is the ETF race, right? So we're seeing 10 XRP filings, 10 different companies filing XRP ETFs. Half of that, just 5 of them have Solana. 3 Litecoin, 3 Doge, 3 AVAX, 3 Hedera, 3 DOT. Then we're seeing 2 SUI, 2 Move, 2 HBAR, 2 Cardano, and 2 Aptos. Cardano only has 2. Isn't that weird? You would think the Cardano would be at least,
they're at 1.
7, honestly.
They're at 1.
They are at 1. Damn, these are all 1. Yeah, you're right, because these are all 2. And then these are 3, and then that's 5, and then that's 10. Yeah.
Doge has more than Cardano, and AVAX. Yeah, that's fine. But that's a big.
These all get passed at the same time, though.
Okay, so like, I wonder what your opinion is here about XRP, because like this obviously is showing confidence from the banking sector, right? Because like, let's be honest, the ETF and stuff, it's like tied into the.
I wouldn't say banking sector.
Well, I mean, as close as possible, right? The hedge funds or whatever, the financial institutions. Let's say that. So they're showing, and the reason why I even bring banking up is because you got like Garling House that has that banking background, and then you have these financial institutions that do have relationships with the banking network and all that stuff. So what does this say to you? Does this say that they believe XRP is going to be stable, does it say that XRP, they think XRP, they're confident that it's going to go up, drastically? What is this statement to you?
So real quick though, before I get into that, I would say you have to understand Ripple and XRP. They're two different products, right? Ripple is a banking. They do, they're trying to get into banking. They do like what's it? Advisorships. They make a little bit of money. They make like $400 million a year, something like that, and stuff like that. And then, but their total revenue is 1.4 last year. So $1 billion of that is selling down XRP. Okay. So XRP is a financial tool from Ripple that makes them money, right? Okay. So just want to put that out there first. And then XRP to me is just a meme coin. It's the number one meme coin in the world, is community coin. These companies believe in the XRP army. They believe in the XRP whales. They believe in everything that comes with XRP. XRP, it will not be used. The token will not be used like it said it was going to be used to send the from country to country to settle stuff. If it loses 1%, if $1 billion, you're losing a good amount of money. It's not going to happen. They're going to use stable coins on fast chains. XRP is a fast chain. They're actually getting a stable coin. So that is the one thing to me that potentially could work for XRP. But I mean, XRP came out in 2013. We're 12 years in, right? And we still don't see a stable coin over there. So, and XRP Ledger doesn't have a lot of experience. It hasn't been live for more than 2 years.
Yeah, but this data to me is pretty drastic. You know what I mean? In terms of who's filing, we know who's filing here, and so these type of institutions, they do tons of research. They spend a lot of money into that research. For them to file 10,
why
ETFs.
Though, right?
Well, that's why I'm trying to see
it's longevity. It's XRP's been around for 12.
Stability.
Bitcoin's been around for 16 years, right? So Ethereum's been around since 2016. XRP is older than Ethereum. This is why XRP is sitting there. It's the longest chain. It's one of the longer chains, right? Doge is right there with it though as well. But Doge is a joke. Doge, is GameStop, right? The XRP potentially could have a stable coin running on it, and it's super fast. The chain's super fast. Right. So I think that's kind of why it has everything. It's meme culture, potential stable coin running on it. And, it does have the backing of Ripple, or, the head nod of Ripple. So it's kind of like those three things wrapped in together. But the longevity is the reason why it's sitting here with 10 ETFs, in my opinion.
Yeah. But does it surprise you? Has the double the ETFs of Solana? Because Solana has been all the news. It's been like everything that's super, been talked about in crypto.
Solana goes down a lot, twice a year, 3 times a year, right? I think if Solana didn't, then I would say, maybe that does. But you have to remember too, Solana is looked at as a casino. So some teams don't want to touch it because it has that casino. You know what I mean? They don't want to be involved in anything bad happening to the reputation because of that. And I think that's the reason why Solana doesn't have 10.
Yeah, I would buy that if it was further down the line. If it was more like, at 3 or 4, or 2 or something like that, because of the risk factor. But yeah. I mean, to me, this data tells me that like they believe in the future of XRP, but they could be wrong. Who knows?
Again, Solana's been around for what, 3 years running well?
Yeah.
And, every year it has 2 or 3 shutdowns. So again, this comes to longevity. That's why Doge and Litecoin are sitting here, right? That longevity is the reason why you're seeing Doge and Litecoin and that have 3. So.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into that Bitcoin fear and greed here. So yesterday we were at come on. Okay, so yesterday we were at 38. Last Wednesday we were at 18. My hint for you was we're dead center of 18 and 38.
Dead center. So what's in between that? Hold on. Okay, so I would say 36.
A little higher than center. Pretty close. Yeah. 29. So my math wasn't mathing, but yeah, we're right there, right in the center there. But we're in fear. We're lower than we were yesterday. Probably off the NVIDIA news that hit like right before UTC 00. But what do you think? What do you think about this fear? Do you think we get out of here anytime soon?
Well, it depends on how this talk goes, because I think it started right, and so it looks like the price is kind of jumping around a little bit, but staying decently strong so far. So
Yeah, man. All right. Let's get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artura Finance. Artura, these guys are gearing up for mainnet, guys. They're no longer really playing with the testnet. They're tired of doing the faucets. And on mainnet, they're not worried about no faucets. Right? They want to gear up. They want to launch the best product they possibly can, and they're launching on mainnet very, very soon. Probably within the next couple of weeks, months, somewhere around there. But I'm really, really excited for Artura and what they're going to bring. But not only am I excited for Artura, I'm actually excited for Hemi as well. So Hemi is backed by Binance. So using Artura on Hemi could potentially get me an airdrop. And I highly recommend you guys at least sign up for an account, open an account with that. All you got to do is connect your wallet and you're on and potentially get a Hemi airdrop, make a couple of trades, a little bit of leverage, a little bit of money, and potentially really start farming the Hemi token. But you're not only farming the Hemi token, you're actually also farming the Artura token as well. Two tokens that I'm highly bullish on and really excited for the future of Artura and really excited for them to launch and really kind of push forward like I think they can.
Yeah, exciting stuff for that team. Going to be live soon on Hemi, so make sure you guys are paying attention there. And before we get into Bitcoin price action, guys, help us out here on the YouTube side. Smash that like, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you know when we go live on X. Guys, share the space so we can educate, onboard people to crypto and Bitcoin, and on Abstract as well. If you could share the stream. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action here. And it looks like it's starting to get a little bit volatile. But let's share my screen here, and I wonder if there's any headlines coming out of that. Probably too early for that, but let's jump into some price action, starting with the hour chart. You can see we were above 85,000 for a little bit, and we look pretty strong with our indicators here on the stochastics. We were heading towards like that 100-point mark on the blue line there, and now it's going down to 93. You can see we broke below 85K, and the MACD still looks decent because this is the hour chart, so there needs to be pretty much like a drastic move to move this. But kind of like what I said yesterday, I figured this would kind of play out the way it did. I said day before yesterday, which is Monday, we had a rise up. We're probably just going to swing back, and that's what happened. We got all the way down to 82. I didn't realize that happened about 7 p.m. yesterday Central Time, and then worked our way all the way back up to hitting that first green candle at 84.8, man. So if you took a long last night heading into this morning, you would have probably been pretty decent. But like I said, we are kind of having a little bit of volatility, not too super extreme, ranging between the high like 84.9 to 85. I saw it bounce back and forth there. We'll see what happens here. Really what the tone that Jerome's going to have is going to really determine how the rest of today plays out, is how I feel. So we'll give it about 30 minutes and see where we are. But if things do get a little bit bullish, the indicators are showing us that they want to hang out here a bit more. This is definitely something starting to form here, though, on the hour chart. I know I don't talk patterns, but unless they slap you in the face, and it looks like a cup is starting to form here. Maybe we get that handle. Maybe there is a volatility that pulls back down here, and then we pop back up if the meeting isn't horrible and it's not like one way or the other. So that's what I'm seeing, guys. So far, we see the price kind of going back down here. So maybe that meeting is starting to get a little bit hawkish. We'll see. That's what I'm seeing for the hour chart. For Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, it is same pattern forming here. That cup is starting to form. Maybe we get that handle here, but you can see the MACD and the stochastics is really set up for a pop-up. You can see right here, we made it to oversold. It did cross over the oversold territory point here. We're sitting at 31 points there on stochastics. And then you can see this blue leading indicator line starting to curl up. So hopefully that meeting gets a little dovish and we can have a pretty solid next couple days, right? Because the 4-hour can give you a 2 to 3 day forecast, which would have put us, I would say about Friday and a bullish, trend possibly. But let's see how it plays out. I would be okay if that cup and handle forms on the hour chart, right? Because then we know that it looks like it might be heading down and we pop back up. but we'll see if that pattern can actually form there. We are above the 50-day EMA on the 4-hour chart. So if we, staying above this, I think is very important. But yeah, it wouldn't bring us down too much. Honestly, it would just getting below 84K would bring us into the channel, which is fine as long as we don't break down below, because then that would bring us to yesterday's lows at that $82,000 mark there. So things look good in terms of setup wise for the 4-hour chart. So let's see if we can get that shorter time frame, the 1-hour chart, to comply with us, and maybe we have a bullish rest of the day heading into Friday. All right. The weekly is I just keeping track of this. We look pretty solid here, still staying above the 50-day EMA channel. Our biggest thing is not finishing the week below the channel. We really want to see this start to curl up too on the MACD. If we can get out of here, man, and I would say if we get 3/4 across the stochastic RSI, I think we're gonna have a good month to 2 months of hanging out up here, which would bring us up here. But we gotta definitely stay above that 50-day channel there. So looking pretty good so far. Is how I feel. We're back above 85,000, so maybe that meeting is starting to get back to dovish. We'll see. During the meeting, though, it does bounce up and down. That's why everybody says volatility happens whenever he talks.
It's just a press conference, though.
Oh, okay, so no decisions making, but still, they're gonna press him on questions about trade. Is QE coming, stuff like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything at all actually coming from the meeting, so I'm having trouble finding anything Jerome Powell. So,
gotcha. And this is the others weekly chart, which is everything besides Bitcoin and the top 10 blue chips here. So, yeah, not too worried, even though we have a red candle here. Like I said, Bitcoin's really going to have to make a strong move for us to get this momentum again, I believe, right? So something like Bitcoin crossing back over 90K, I think we could get this engine going again. So, it has a similar setup to what Bitcoin does on the weekly chart in terms of the indicators, right? So if we can get this curled up, then, and I always talk about how I truly believe the alts will, once that switch does flip, it'll kind of fast track back up. But we do need that macro environment for that to happen, and we're not there yet. Hopefully we get there in the next month or so.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And then this is the bubbles. This is the last thing I'll go over here. This is showing the hour bubbles, crypto bubbles here. So looks pretty good for the past hour. If we go on the day, it's not as good. You can see there needs to be some catching up here, but some that stick out. Always Fartcoin is the best performing digital asset outside of Bitcoin the past 2 weeks. You see Core, which is a Bitcoin ecosystem token, by the way, backed by Coinbase Ventures as well, up 16.6%. I wonder if they have some news probably coming out. Tron up 3%. That's interesting. While we see some of these other blue chips like Gala down 2.1, XRP down 1.6, Crypto.com's token Crow down 1.9. Yeah. So anything you wanted to look at specifically on the bubbles?
I mean, the only thing that really shines out to me is the Fartcoin up again, right? And what Jake said last night, we were in a live with Jake, and he basically said Fartcoin is the new Doge, and he meant it as if Fartcoin is the trigger for risk on or risk off. And with Fartcoin going up, he said it's potentially other stuff could lag, but things are going to be following it. And I'm curious if he's right. What do you think? Do you think Fartcoin is that alt season trigger?
I mean, it could be. It's shown crazy strength when no one expected that, to kind of take the lead out of all the memes. We knew that, it was strong before, but it has shown a lot of strength consistently the past week and a half. If that's the case, then I think we probably have a good couple weeks to maybe longer coming up. Not yet. Obviously, there has to be some other triggers that hit, but I think Doge, when it triggered, it was about a month before, and then everything else started to follow suit. So
Well, yeah, man. Let's get into the next thing here, which is the roll call. All right. Let's kind of see who first is first here. So we do know last night the comments were wiped out, completely wiped out. Had you noticed that too? When the comments do get wiped out, the views on the show, like especially in the beginning, just do not go up. It's so weird. And like especially on YouTube right now, we're at like really low number here. We're at like 13, which is really weird for the show. We're at least in the 20s. So I don't know if we're being like they just delete our comments and then push us down. I don't know what's going on with that. But shout out to Webdro, man. You win again. You have win number 15 on the year, one behind Danny now. So the race continues. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations to you, my friend. 15. You are number one. I'm curious who got rugged. Who got reaped? Was it Matt's? I feel like Matt's gets reaped all the time. If you guys know, let me know because I didn't see the comments from last night. Matt says Reaper. Claudia says third. Timer Tubers in here fourth. Sheesh. Mempool Punk is here. Mempool Punk. Super fan GM. And we got S GM from Bells. I love it, S, man. Awesome. Always supporting the Bells community. Malam Yuri is here. Lackey Lukey. Shout out to you, my friend. Chief Axel. Legend in the building. Shout out to you, my friend. And then Mark said, let's hope the Easter Bunny brings us lots of Bitcoin. Enjoy the family holidays, guys. I forgot, this is a holiday week, right? A lot of people start going on holiday and stuff like that this week. I know my kids actually have a half a day and then they're off the next couple of days. So I didn't think about that. Maybe that could be why we're kind of having this little laggard of a sideways action here going into the Easter holiday. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Steamy J said, let's get it. Myself says, I like how the dominance chart looks on CoinMarketCap. I think BTC dominance will hit 66 and then reverse. Yeah, you're going right into what Benjamin McCohen, the guy who's always right, says. You probably could see that this weekend, honestly. ETH BTC ratio looks like crazy as AF. It's been down since last cycle top. Yeah, I know. It's been crazy. Myself says Solana is 5 years old. What did I say? 4? I mean, same.
Yeah.
And then Big Rod is here. Shout out to Big Rod.
Yo,
really appreciate you being here. It's been a while, my friend, but thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it as always. But that is your roll call for today, guys. Really appreciate every single one of you guys who make roll call every single day. Really helps the show when you guys put the comments in there. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious myself if you think that Ethereum has like a really strong comeback, or do you think it's like it'll come back obviously when everything comes back, but it won't be what everybody expected? I'm curious of your opinion whenever you get a chance to chat in there.
Yep. This next thing is kind of cool. So this was a story I seen, and I went and did a little research because I can't find the Satoshi wallet with all this Bitcoin in it. But we'll get into it. It says Satoshi Nakamoto holds over 1.1 million Bitcoin. These coins are distributed across approximately 22,000 addresses, each typically holding 50 Bitcoin. So what he was doing was every address got 50 Bitcoin. So in the beginning, I don't know if he was just trying to make it look like there's a lot of wallets holding Bitcoin.
They still use that strategy today.
I know they really do. But he has. So if you go look at the wallet that everyone calls Satoshi wallet, it only has 50 Bitcoin in it. So I was thinking, where are all the Bitcoin? But apparently, it's one set of keys that holds 22,000 addresses. I mean, we know that. Maybe he was testing that out. Maybe he was just testing out how many addresses a Bitcoin wallet could have. And apparently there's 22,000 in his, but each one has 50. So when his miner was winning the blocks because he was the only one in, right? They were actually going to different addresses. Maybe he was doing that on purpose. I don't know. But Satoshi holds $93 billion worth of Bitcoin right now.
Whew. So all these addresses are under the main address or split out?
So there's no way of knowing that. There's no way of knowing if they're all under one set
unless you own it. Yeah.
Unless you own it. Yeah. But like it's probably one wallet. Everyone thinks it's one wallet, right? Or Satoshi's wallets. It could be 4, 5, 6. You just don't know how many he was actually doing, or maybe he planned never to open them anyway. So he was probably just like, I'm sure he had other miners that were mining for his personal stash, right?
Yeah.
So but these ones, all the blocks he won will never be moved. I mean, maybe that was the plan from the beginning, but it's pretty crazy to think somebody could be sitting there on holding $93 billion worth of Bitcoin and not have any any reason to grab it. I mean, maybe you have enough, right? I mean, how much money is enough money? I'm sure it's the real Satoshi's loaded if he hasn't passed away.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. All right. The next thing here is Mantra. We covered this on Monday. So Mantra CEO John Mullen plans to burn all his team's tokens in order to win back the trust of the network's community following the sudden crash of OM. Mullen plans to burn 300 million team allocated OM tokens, about 16% of the supply. We did see the token go from 50 cents to about 79 cents, 80 cents now. What do you think? Can Mantra win back the favor of the community after what happened? And we still don't know exactly what happened. We did see CoffeeZilla, who you actually said on Monday, where's CoffeeZilla at? He actually did a stream with Mullen.
Okay. How much does this bring the market cap back up to, though? You know,
I mean, it was $7 and now it's 80 cents. So.
Yeah. So it went from I think, was it 6 billion before?
6
and
billion,
then
yeah.
500 million, and I think it went up a little bit afterwards. 600.
It's like
million.
800 million right now, so it's still down about
80%
80% from the high.
I mean, this is better, definitely like a good move.
Yeah,
especially if the team's giving up their tokens.
The team does have unlocks though.
Yeah,
like a lot of them.
So they're just giving up their current available tokens.
Yes, this is what they're sitting on.
Okay, it's a good gesture. Let's see if it wins it back. I mean, it's definitely a strong move, but I think they have to have a really strong move here. Like, trust is something that can definitely be won back because people like to gamble in this industry. But once it's completely gone, it's gone.
100%. Well, speaking of burning, BNB chain just burned 1.58 million BNB tokens, equivalent to $916 million in its 31st quarterly auto burn. A total supply now at 140 million, inching closer to the 100 million goal. So they want to get the total supply of BNB down to 100 million. They are burning every quarter. It looks like every quarter they're burning a lot of BNB. I'm guessing this is the fees being added up that entire quarter and then just being burned. But what do you think, man? Do you think they can actually get down from 140 to 100 million? And I mean, this is the deflationary token. This looks very bullish to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can if that's their goal, and if it is, then the price can, like, in the future really reflect something aggressive.
Yeah.
But it will be a time thing. Sometimes, like, I'll admit I get tied up into like supply of tokenomics a lot, and when I see like a supply that is something similar to Bitcoin or something, I get excited. But you got to remember the demand has to be there. But BNB can have that demand. It has a demand, a very strong demand, and it can create even more demand, right? So I think at 100 million, they could be looking really good.
Well, think about it this way. Bitcoin will have inflation up until the year 2141. BNB will never have inflation ever. It'll always be negative, the amount of tokens in circulation, right? That's pretty nuts to think about, right? I mean, potentially another 30% of the supply will be gone in the next 100 years. Why Bitcoin, at least another number, I want to say about at least 6% of the supply is still scheduled to come out.
Yeah. So what was the max supply of BNB? They just stopped?
There was no max. It was very similar to Ethereum. They just kept going and going and going, and then eventually turned it off. So you're still earning, but I don't know if you're earning by running the network. I think BNB does it themselves. That's why they call it centralized. I don't think, I got to look more into it, but I don't think there's any like motivation to run a BNB node unless you're just trying to keep the network up. Because I think BNB, they just run it themselves. That's why they say it's centralized.
Yeah, I mean, so this can even supercharge that even more because they don't even have a max supply anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going the opposite. It's even better than what Ethereum's mechanism is, because technically Ethereum will continually have emissions. It was supposed to be counter burn, but no one uses the chain, so
yeah. Well, Zen was like the main burner last year, and then it's just not happening. Did I freeze up? I think I froze up.
You're good now.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, the next thing here is Raydium introducing Launch Lab. Launch Lab? Launch Lab. Yeah, I don't know. Raydium all-in-one token launchpad. That's going to be confusing. Built for creators, developers, and community. Guys, like, why can't you just come up with good names for things? Launch Lab? Like, really? I don't know. How do you feel? First, the name. I think it's garbage. And second, the site looks very similar to Pump Fun. It looks very similar to a lot of these other launch pads. But what do you think about Raydium? Could this catapult them? What do you think?
It's gonna be hard for them to steal a lot of Pump Fun's share, just because it's kind of first is first. Branding's there.
Yeah.
Now if Pump Fund falls off, something happens, exploit, something crazy like that, then of course they have an opportunity. But they will still be able to grab some share to where they're making probably a good amount of money, because they are Raydium.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Raydium. And so it's going to be interesting, because right now you have Pump Fun, and who would you say is number 2? MoonShot after them? Because MoonShot, not the same MoonShot as the one that just looked, which is so confusing to me, and I hate that, because both are big entities.
I know.
But you have the MoonShot that's like created by Dex Screener, but they're across like Solana, Base, Arbitrage.
I think 4 is in second place. That's
Really?
the one on BNB chain. I think they do a lot of volume over there, whether that's bots or not. I think they do a little bit more volume than the MoonShot Launchpad. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know the BNB one is doing really well.
Yeah, but MoonShot, the thing about them is they actually have Solana too. So I think like Raydium being a Solana brand to start with can maybe take that number 2 spot. We'll see.
Yeah, but like, who's using MoonShot on Solana? I know MoonShot's really being used on art abstract, right, and a couple other chains. Base, that if you're gonna play the game, you might as well play on the number 1 place. That's Pump Fun, right? I just can't see these getting traction. I think it's necessary. I think every platform should eventually have one of these. I mean, they're really smart. And launchpads. Every platform used to have launchpads, but they were different back then. Now they're all these quick launchpads. But these things could evolve one day and be like utility launchpads as well, to where you can kind of crowdfund your coin there, and actually get it liquidity right away. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this does. What do you think, though? Do you think this is taking 5% of away from Pump Fun, or not at all?
Oh man, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think that they do have the branding on their side to where people know, and we're expecting them to launch this, because they put the news out like a month and a half ago, maybe even earlier than that. And so I think people will try it out, see if it's the UI is better, those kind of things. So I think 5%'s I think doable, and maybe even 3% if it's a good experience, and see where it goes from there.
I can't say it. I think it'll do 1% of Pump Fun. I just think, if you're gonna play like the Pump Fun, we know it. You can buy a coin like we did last night, right? We were buying coins over there, and they're actually shooting up. Over here is very similar to how we felt on Abstract MoonShot, where it was just like it took a few hours for stuff to kind of start ramping up, while on Pump Fun it takes a few minutes for stuff to start ramping up. So we'll see.
Yeah, the problem with Pump Fun, though, and I think they'll have a problem too, anything on Solana, is like having stamina for these tokens. Like if you don't get out at 500,000 market cap on any of them that have short-lived success, they're going to zero. And so people are like, well, other chains don't have the liquidity. Well, over here they don't live past like 400,000 or 500,000, and if they do and they get to 1 million, and then you have to determine, okay, is it going to continue to 4 or 5 million, or is it going to die? Because a lot of them that get to 1 million, they have that one day to shine, and that's it. And the next day they die, and you have your maybe 1 to 3 2 weeks or whatever that can get to that next level, and there's just so many coins being pumped out there.
Yeah, I mean, but like Pump Fun isn't a place to you don't marry a meme coin that comes from Pump Fun.
Yeah, I get
it's like,
I get what you're saying, but like some of these other environments, like you do have more opportunity for like a actual like
an investor mindset.
A little bit. You obviously can't fully go into that still, because Odin and other platforms still have the daily maybe winners and stuff like that, but we'll see.
Yeah, you can potentially you could marry a meme coin on Odin or Funky Bit, right? But on Pump Fun, I mean, you can't. There's no way. You can only date it, and maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and that's it. So
you'll lose your money so quick.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of Odin, the road to Valhalla opens again today. Trading will resume Wednesday, April 16th, which is today at 3 p.m., which is about 3 hours from right now. What do you think happens? What do you think? Do you think people immediately start withdrawing? Do you think people immediately start buying, or do you think that potentially maybe nothing happens?
I think it's a possibility of a mixture. I like something like Odin Dog that's sitting at like 3.8 million. I think some people probably buy into that, gets back to 6, 7 maybe. Odin Cat is at like 300K, so maybe they like very quickly buy that back up to 1 million or 800,000 or whatever. But then I think there's going to be some people that say, all right, I want to take my Bitcoin over to like Funky Bit or something, and see like how things are over there. So I think you're gonna have a little mixture of both. There's definitely loyal people to Odin for sure within the Chinese community and the Western communities. But I think there's some people that want to be like, okay, let me see what I can get over there to start some stuff. And you see some of these Funky Bit projects, like I think the first token that launched over there said today's withdrawal day. And I didn't know what they meant by that. I was like, or like unlock day or something, unlock withdrawal. And that's why I was talking to you. I was like, is there a major like token unlock today? And we were like, no. Magic Eden's in 2 days, Trump's in like 3 days or whatever. And like I finally put 2 and 2 together. They're talking about Odin.
Gotcha. Yeah. Some tokens that I'm potentially looking into. Obviously, Odin Dog's probably a really good one. I mean, that was at 30 million at one point, right?
Yeah.
And then you got something like Sparks. I'm definitely looking in maybe dumping some money. I'm trying to find some Bitcoin. I was looking last night and all my wallets. I was like, where do I have some spare Bitcoin at? And I tossed it on one wallet and going to be depositing when it's open. But I'm potentially going to get into Sparks, get some more Super X and some Pep Odins and yeah, I'm probably, and maybe even some liquid. This one is 100% like the guy. He just put all of his money in there and 100% liquidity pool. So it immediately got pushed up to things. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
We'll see. Yeah,
like something like Sparks could be an easy 5x right off the bat, but you're risking the fact that like people are gonna go in this. Sparks to me is like a second level like bullish token there, maybe even third. But
I mean, for Sparks to be sitting under 100K, I mean that to me is an easy win.
Yeah,
it's an easy 10x. I mean, I'm talking a month, 2 months down the line, right? I'm not thinking it's going to 10x tomorrow, but if I gotta hold this, maybe it drops down to 80, but over time I think this gets back to $1 million, 2 million, 10 million even, right? This is something I'm going to be DCAing into, and like I said, just maybe Ghost Node, Super X, some of the guys who've been around for a little while now, and Super X could pop any second because Super X is launching their own Pump Fund type thing, right? And they're going to be aggregating to everywhere else. So and Odin's going to be one of the platforms doing there, and they put their name on this, right? I mean, you don't put your name on something. Like maybe you call it like Big Cat or something, but you don't put your name on something unless you are planning to build with it, right? I mean, I just can't see.
I mean, that's obviously like as a brand that has established and stuff like that. I agree with that. The one thing I will say though is, I think that Odin is probably grateful that they used runes because let's say that like right now, for example, you have Pep Odins and you have Sparks that have a staking vault with Fluid.com. With actual runes that they were bridged off of Odin. Now let's say that like runes you didn't have all that stuff and it was just this, the ICP version tokens on Odin, right? Maybe people don't continue as a project founder and say, God, this is the second time. You have extra incentive to continue because now you have your tokens on Bitcoin layer 1. And then some people even extended it to like Funky Bit, right? And so there's opportunities for sure. And I think because of that, like Odin will continue and eventually start to thrive again.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Dog just landed on the MoonShot. 20 million users can now grab Bitcoin's #1 meme coin instantly with Apple Pay, credit card, Venmo, and PayPal. So absolutely huge. This is had the whole Twitter or X talking about it. There was like 6,900 tweets in a matter of minutes about this. What do you think about this? Are you I mean, obviously you're bullish on this, right? But like, do you see MoonShot being somewhere that these people can buy this? And do you know if this is the Solana dog or is this the regular dog?
It's the regular dogs. What they announced. It didn't say Solana contract or anything like that.
It didn't say Bitcoin contract or anything either, though.
Yeah, but I remember whenever Slingshot was initially like months ago talking about listing some of these runes, they said Solana CA or whatever. So I don't know. We do need to get clarity on that.
Yeah.
But one thing that makes me bullish is I think like these easy applications to be able to use Apple Pay and be able to buy seems like they're kind of teaming up here. And why I say this is MoonShot posted today a response, I believe. So VOH worked for Magic Eden, and then she moved to the Slingshot team, and she posted that she made a purchase. Like on Slingshot, this is in testing still, but she posted, "Hey, I made a purchase using Apple Pay."
So here she said, "Just bought Dog Go to the Moon on Bitcoin on Slingshot. Am I the first person to ever buy a rune with Apple Pay? This is going to change Bitcoin tokens forever." And this is why I kind of thought that it was the Solana dog, because if she was the first, if Dog got listed on MoonShot, but she's coming out and saying, she's the first person to buy Dog Go to the Moon on Bitcoin on Slingshot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, honestly, but they, yesterday I didn't see one single post about it being like, the Solana contract or anything like that. But the thing that I saw today was that MoonShot had reposted that and said something like the first purchase on Slingshot or something. So I was like, I feel like they might be like working together to really push this Bitcoin tokens narrative.
Yeah, benefit both for sure.
Yeah, so you have the Slingshot, you have MoonShot, and then Vector, which all three work that way. And then we'll see, if the rumors are true about Binance's infrastructure for runes being, actual legit.
I just asked ChatGPT. I asked it if the dog on MoonShot is runes or SLP, and it said it's runes. So I don't know. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but that's pretty big. That's pretty big. That's awesome. But how do you feel about MoonShot like beating out Magic Eden and Slingshot?
Front running it?
Yeah, dude.
I thought that was funny, actually, because I wonder what the Slingshot team thinks. They put a post out. Did you see that? They were like, "I know you guys want to trade your precious Bitcoin runes, but it's going to be a little bit longer because we're going to make sure this is the best UI, to trade Bitcoin tokens and stuff like that." So, I think it got everybody excited. I think there was some sales that came in through Magic Eden for Dog but it didn't like push the price up dramatically or anything like that. I just think it's a good first step for runes adoption, though, right? Because when you're doing it for the Bitcoin token on these type of platforms where people can use Apple Pay, then it goes into marketing. All you gotta do is market these suckers as Bitcoin tokens to newbies, normies, and then you eat that market just like Robinhood did with Doge. And now you got three beasts going after it, and then eventually the centralized exchanges possibly. So
imagine Coinbase and Binance kind of sitting there, with not many transactions going on their exchanges because you're seeing Bitcoin dominance just go up, right? So no one's really going crazy and like buying huge amounts of these altcoins. But then you see 7,000 comments on a Bitcoin meme coin like Dog. Do you think like Binance and Coinbase are sitting there like, okay, well, we got to do something here quickly? Because I do think that. I think they're both sitting there like, okay, maybe it's time.
Yeah. So I apologize. I was wrong. It wasn't MoonShot. Was it MoonShot the one that listed them?
MoonShot listed. Yeah, MoonShot.
Okay.
Listed,
So MoonPay was the one that reposted it. So it wasn't MoonShot.
Okay.
I got them mixed up.
Gotcha. What is MoonPay? Oh yeah, MoonPay.
MoonPay's MoonPay.
Okay.
There's so many things that's like.
Yeah, I know. Why doesn't it gotta have the same name? Like Runes Dex, Runes this, Runes that, or MoonPay or MoonShot, and
Well,
I guess
there's literally two that are the exact same MoonShots. There's the MoonShot meme launchpad and MoonShot application.
Yeah, man. All right. So Unisat Wallet Explorer, an extension for Bitcoin, a Uniscan, the one explorer for all your Bitcoin needs. So their Genie data seems to be on the outside looking in at this point, right? They're not really upgrading. I mean, it's still there. It's still available. You can still check your wallet, but they're not really like expanding. We think they're kind of like, I don't know. We'll get more word on this from Adiv, but as of right now, we just don't think they're expanding. But Unisat's kind of seeing an opportunity there and going with the Uniscan. How do you feel about Uniscan? Have you tried it yet?
I have not tried it, honestly, and
Yeah.
I saw the post about it, and you broke it down for me pre-show, but I definitely want to jump into it. You said it's similar to Genie Data, correct?
Yeah, it has the same feeling to it. Like you can put your wallet address in there and kind of get like a full idea. It looks just like how it used to look. It doesn't look like anything special, right? So you can come over here, you can put your wallet in here. I mean, it's something Unisat already had, but now they're kind of they expanded it some, right? You can see the latest transactions that are happening and stuff like that. They made it really feel like a
Explorer.
an ETH Explorer. It has activity and stuff like that, and yeah, so they have it for Fractal and Bitcoin. But yeah, so it's not bad. It's not bad.
Well, I mean, I think it's cool because like there really hasn't been this, right?
Yeah.
The only Explorer that we would use, like you said, was Genie Data, but it wasn't even. I didn't look at that as an Explorer. I actually thought it was a really cool, just a bunch of tools together for analytics. But so this would be kind of the first version of a Bitcoin scan type of site. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you used Genie Data? Because I remember the first time I used it.
I think so.
You know why you used it?
Tap.
Yeah. This is tap minting. Benny shared it with us, and he said this is a good place to go see what's minting. And I think he shared it with me on Telegram, and I shared it with you, and then he put it out. Not far after that, not long after that, and then but it was really cool to kind of see that they were actually indexing tap early, or at least taking Benny's API and kind of showcasing that. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how long we've been in ordinals now, going on over 2 years, and yeah, it's wow.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Last thing here before we get into Wager Wednesday is the Atlanta Fed is now projecting, this just came out, a -2% for GDP for Q1. So we'll get this number really soon here, but 2 negative GDP in a row means a recession. So my question for you is, are we in a recession?
Well, didn't the last administration kind of like change the rules because they had 2 negative GDPs in a row, right?
It was a recession. I mean, looking back, it was a recession, right? I mean, there's no doubt about it. So do you think we enter another recession?
I mean, if that's the
do you think we get 2 negative 2? You get another one? Do you think we get another one?
When does that come out?
So we'll get this number in upcoming weeks, and then for Q2, potentially in July.
Probably. I mean, 2.2% swing of a percent. Yeah, I mean, probably, but I don't think it's gonna hit the same way. To where people are, it's a headline that mainstream media is probably gonna just freaking try to feast on forever. But I hope we don't. If we do, then the current administration is gonna go back and be like, well, hold on a second. Let's look up that definition that was used a couple years ago. So.
You can't change the definition. It is what it is, right? 2 negative GDP in a row, it will always mean a recession, right? You can spin it, whoever's in charge is going to spin it the way they want to spin it, but it's always been this way. And to me, and the one thing about a recession is you don't know you're in a recession until the second quarter of that recession, right? So it's like, but usually what happens is when that GDP number comes in negative for the second quarter, that month is usually very bullish because that's when you see a lot of QE. You see a lot of the Fed buying bonds. But that was different with last recession that we were in 2022, the Fed never came in. The Fed never tried to fix anything, but we still got through it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully it's not, something that lingers, because we've had a lot of that to start the year.
Yep. All right, guys, we want to just go over one of our partners here every Wednesday. We like to just hit on BTC, BetBTC.win. These guys are building. We just don't want you guys to forget about them. They're building. We actually check out their site in the back end, the testnet version, and the stuff they're coming with is absolutely amazing. Think what we have here with Blitz. Blitz markets, and you guys can come here and actually play with this right now. It's actually really simple, really easy to do it. You just take this number right here, and I guess we're just kind of waiting for it. It was working on testnet perfectly this morning, but it does look like we're having a little bit of issues on mainnet here. But once they release the complete version, I can't wait for you guys to see it. There's really amazing features coming. You're going to be able to do stuff with your friends. You're going to be able to create your own markets. It's really exciting. Right now, they are going to be doing an airdrop. So if you guys are like airdrop hunting, all you really need to do is create an account, get on the leaderboard here. As you can see, Webdro, the guy comes in first every day, the most competitive guy I've ever met, is sitting here in first place, PJNZ. So they will be doing an airdrop. Really looking forward to that. But you guys, all you got to do is to get in the airdrop is really just get in here, right? They're 6 away from 400 wallets. Just create a wallet. You don't got to do anything else. You don't got to deposit, nothing. Just create a wallet, and you will automatically be put in here. If you wanted to grind the airdrop, though, you just make some trades and stuff like that. But we recommend you guys kind of just waiting on them to kind of get things going. Here in the next couple of weeks and months, you're going to see a lot of big upgrades coming from them. Really looking forward to seeing what's next from these guys and educating you with tutorials and stuff like that coming forward. These guys are something to pay attention to, and I know I will be. So,
yeah, exactly. And then for now, if you don't have an account, you get 50 points, I believe, just for signing up there. So that is what I would focus on till those other features are out, because we're going to be going over that once they do release them and walking you through that. And so you guys know exactly how to work those new features. It's going to be a fun time. Like Susie said, we get to see under the hood, and there's a lot coming.
Yeah, we're very bullish on these guys and what they're building. Real quick hit on the comments. Myself says, yeah, it's funny how they never tell you when they're actually in a recession. Yeah, you don't know you're in a recession until the second quarter of that recession, and then it's usually over because they immediately turn the boat. Kai Effect is here. GM guys, sorry I missed a few days. Work has been a little demanding here. Yeah, no problem, man. We understand. And honestly, it's not just you. It's a lot of people have tuned out these last couple of weeks, man. It's insane to see, but you see Bitcoin dominance growing. All you need to do at this point is just hold Bitcoin. So no one's really looking into anything else. But you guys have to remember, we cover the news every day. We make sure you guys are caught up on everything macro, everything that comes in that could affect your portfolio in any way. We cover here. Claudia says, I'm curious if address is on different paths or different sets of own private key. Yeah, there's no way of actually knowing that unless you hold the wallet, right? So 100% here. Timer 2 says, did you guys saw the rumors about Trump monopoly? I did see that. I didn't grab that for the stuff though. Did you what is it? Do you know? I gotta look into it more.
I saw it too, but I don't know what it's like, the concept of it. Like I imagine that they're gonna have like real money in there, which would be kind of cool. But are they going to utilize the Trump token? I think that's another thing too. It's just odd. We're not used to something like this. So we'll be covering it once we get more information.
Isn't it crazy that Trump came out yesterday and he said he wants to stop Senate and Congress from trading stocks. Then he comes out with a meme coin and the World Liberty Fi coin and the Monopoly game and all this stuff in crypto. I don't know.
Crypto's okay. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's still a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But guys, thank you all. 245 of you guys, man. Started off slow, but ended strong. Really appreciate all you guys in here with us every single day. Appreciate it. And yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys have been showing up. Look, even during the slow periods, we've had days where we hit 400, 500 people watching live. So it's not every day, but you guys are definitely still paying attention. And that is a big deal. I truly believe the people that are going to be focusing in when it's easy to zone out are the ones that are going to benefit the most. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you could check out our partners, we would greatly appreciate that, as that helps us out a ton. Emblem Vault is going to be the interoperability tooling. You're going to be able to jump your ordinal from Bitcoin layer 1 to Merlin chain to Abstract to Base, eventually Solana. You're going to be able to use Agent Hustle to help you vault your ordinals, guys. We were on a live stream with them last night. Very fun time, but they're going to be expanding his capabilities to Bitcoin. And once that happens, it's going to be created to make your life easier. But don't forget about their TGE too, because they have a runes. That's going to be their main token for the Emblem Vault ecosystem, and that happens in September of this year. And you can actually participate in a pre-sale currently on OpenSea if you go search Emblem Vault founder keys. And once we get to that TGE, they will give you instructions on how to get those runes into your Bitcoin wallet. You can learn all about this at emblem.vision. And BetBTC, we just talked about them. They are the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They are going through some changes on the platform, but it's for the better. They're adding amazing features that we've been able to see under the hood. So the wait will be worth it, guys. What you can do right now is sign up for an account if you don't have one, because that gets you 50 points right away to farm for their future TGE. And they do have their blitz markets where you can actually long and short Bitcoin, BNB, or Solana. And there's a 10-minute countdown to where you can choose. I recommend getting down close to the 1 minute so you don't get stuck with the price, and then 10 more minutes to see if you won or lost. So visit betbtc.win to learn more about those guys. And then Artura Finance. These guys are doing huge things on Hemi mainnet layer 2, which is going to be coming out very soon. Hemi layer 2 is actually backed by Binance Labs. So a strong backing to that layer 2 for sure. And they're going to be building there. So you're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungibles like Ordi, Sats, Dog of the Moon, $1 Billion Cat, as well as popular other tokens like XRP, Tau, Ethereum, stuff like that as well. And you're going to be able to earn passively if you contribute to their staking vaults. So it's an exciting time. We'll get you guys more information on that. We're going to have some trader interviews coming out very, very soon too. So keep your eyes open for that. But you can, for now, go to artura.finance to learn more about them. And then Fluid Tokens, they are the UTXO wizard devs. I think they're currently working with Draper University. They got into that program, so congratulations to them. But they were the first to introduce retail staking vaults to the public on Bitcoin Layer 1. They have the Pep Odins and the Sparks. We just talked about Sparks. Runes staking vaults currently going, and the Dog Go to the Moon, of course, which is going to unlock close to the Bitcoin conference in May. So be ready for that. Also, if you are a founder and you want a staking vault, go to their Discord, get connected, join their community, ask the questions there. They will give you a step-by-step on how to get that started. Don't forget too, they are building the Aquarium tool, which is the straight bridge and DEX from Bitcoin to Cardano. They will have their FLDT token on the Rune side as well. You can bridge back and forth with the Cardano token, 1-to-1 there. Visit fluidtokens.com to learn more about those guys. And Merlin Chain, your #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you are a builder on a Bitcoin layer 1, you want your protocol to be more quick, seamless, and you can build on Merlin Chain. They have great builder support there. If you are a retail user, you want to swap for Dog Go to the Moon, since Dog is the most popular rune right now, you can do so at merlinswap.org, as they have a strong liquidity pool there. Don't forget they have their AI wizard 0.3 that's going to be coming out. So it's a wizard assistant that eventually the idea is to be able to help you guys do trades and stuff like that too. So, pay attention and make sure you're up to date with that. Lastly, if you are wanting to help secure the chain there and you have Merlin Chain tokens, you can actually earn 15% APR by staking them to help secure the chain. They will add Bitcoin soon, and we will update you guys once that is available, but you can go to merlinchain.io to learn more. And our integrated partners, guys, don't forget about them. And Foxy AI building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker, which we will be live streaming again starting next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Everybody's invited. All you need is a supported wallet. So any Bitcoin wallet, and I believe Phantom and MetaMask are also supported there. Make sure you guys join, because it's a fun time. We go about 45 minutes. And Ordinal Hive is the Ordinal aggregator marketplace for Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2. Cheapest ordinals around will be on Ordinal Hive, and Don't forget to use their trading tools like Live Moon Pool Insights to snipe something that somebody mispriced. You can get a node monk or something for possibly cheap, and they have tooling there for that. So we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io with some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and code up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, we have the #1 VPN that I use. That's NordVPN. Guys, don't be going to these sites without a VPN. There's free ones out there. Get a free one. But I always end up coming back to Nord. It's obviously the best, right? In my opinion. And you guys can get it today for like $3 a month. I think I paid $37 for the year. Highly recommend you guys doing that as well and making sure that you guys are safe. I just noticed a really cool feature on there too. It'll detect if there's any malware on your computer. I was actually looking at it, and it's actually really cool. All you got to do is turn it on. I turned mine on today, and I have zero malware on my computer. So that's definitely something, if you guys are interested in checking out, definitely do that. And if you guys are interested in some the thing's going.
Refresh that and see if it comes back.
Yeah,
it might just be down. I'll look into it.
But anyway, if you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But do not wait until May to get your tickets. Get them as soon as possible here on OnChainRevolution.io when the site comes back here. And guys, if you need merch for that event or any event, check out our store tab as well. That'll take you to our Shopify, a third party. All we do is supply the logos and everything else, but we really appreciate you guys checking that out. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys, and until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.